Wakey, wakey.
It's interesting how much audio has made all of this way creepier. We were watching it without audio.
It's like the Foley of what he's cutting up and back and stuff there. Ugh.
Time to eat.
And that's the first time you actually see what it is, that you've heard them refer to it.
No, actually, this is the first time you just see it, and it's again, I really wanted to downplay the whole cannibalism thing. It's just something they have to do.
Super.
He comes to bring her a tray of food.
This was so cool to watch when you guys were doing this scene. It's just like this battle of the wills where he's just trying to like get in her head and she will not let him. She won't give in.
Yeah, this was one of my favorite scenes to shoot because some human helping on the side. There's just so much there. I mean, the cannibalism and then him being all like rapey and molesty. Like, I don't know. I'm a fan of the dark stuff, which you know. So when I read it, I was like, yes. Which makes me sound like an awful person, which I am. So
I don't know what that says about me that I wrote this.
I know. I remember that night that I went home, I was just in a funky mood.
We have to take care of our own by any means necessary.
It was like it was a cooler thing to read about it than actually having to go in there. It was really hard to do.
Yeah.
You're gonna chop me up into tiny pieces.
See, again, I see David being this very gracious person.
I mean, everything he's saying is kind of true. It's like, you kill to survive, we kill to survive. It's just what you do in this world. But again, Ellie just is feeling there's something else here.
I still don't look at David as a bad guy at this point.
Oh, that's what too is like you were talking to me before we got this whole David thing, and it's like, you want to work with Nolan North? I want to do a scene with Nolan North. I want to do this. And I was like, and I'm like, oh, we cast Nolan North. Like, great. I'm like, but you don't act with him at all.
Jeez.
Yeah, I feel super lucky I got to work with him because
He's the king.
He's so fun to work with.
I mean, he really owned it. He threw himself into it, like darkness and all. And again, talking to him about it, he's like, I don't see him as dark. This is just what he wants. That's it.
I think David believes his own line of bullshit. Or whether it's bullshit or not, I think David believes that he actually is doing the right thing.
I mean, that's the other thing we discussed with Nolan is like there's a religious part to David, even though I never wanted that to come out in the script. But he really kind of believes that he's been sent here and he has this destiny that nothing can really harm him.
What am I supposed to tell the others now?
And you really took that on the chin that day, too.
Man, this whole sequence with David, I was so beat up and bruised.
I remember you came back the following day with bruises.
I was like, guys, look at me. I had bruises everywhere.
Oh, that looks bad, but
we're making a game now.
Yeah.
I love that you made it the little girl that broke your fucking finger.
Yeah. That was a good call, Neil.
Well, he calls her stupid little girl, so she throws it back in his face. I also like that she gives him her name under her conditions, which is, I'm going to give it to you, but I'm going to insult you. Right.
I also like the fact that Ellie is still so strong that even though she's in that cage, she's still
kind of in control.
Yeah.
But it's a much stronger, that's a different strength than you'd shown anywhere else in the game before. It's like that winter was a really, really hard winter for you.
Here's another funny scene.
Wow.
Well, and you're wrong. I did get to actually act with Nolan in this. Nolan was a trooper and let me torture him.
Although we did record over his lines with Liam O'Brien.
That's right, the lovely Lob.
The lovely Liam O'Brien. This actually is my favorite scene in the game.
Is it really?
And after I saw you guys shoot it, and then when I saw the animation and everything, I was like, I just love the scene.
What is it about it you love so much?
I love that Joel is just quietly violent. and that you
That's-
pop off the guy's
This is his
kneecap.
job, right? This is what he's good at.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
just-
like,
And it's also for me, when we talked about this, it's like Joel going back to this, like, all right, you want this guy, I'll be this guy. We've spent almost the entire game for him to stay away from being that guy, but in this, and it's like I still
it's
know
like
how
we're
to
going
fuck you
back to
up.
the moment in the beginning we saw him with Robert and Tess.
Yeah.
This is what he does. This is what he's done in this world.
yeah, it's a no-brainer. He's good at it.
Chokes him out and breaks his neck right there, all for the benefit of that guy.
And it's like, if there's any like notion that someone has hurt Ellie, then I'm gonna make every single one of you guys pay.
That's all right. I believe it.
And actually, this is the scene where I think he got beat up the most.
Yeah.
Where you
It
did?
was- Yo, yeah.
Yeah.
I had bruises over my whole entire body. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, this wasn't stunts, this was you.
Yeah.
I warned you.
The thing that I love about this scene is how much Ellie's using her brains and her physicality, like everything to like get out of this situation.
Right there. Roll up my sleeve. Look at it.
I'll play along.
What'd you say?
Ruben helped so much during this part because choreographing sort of all of the little movements were so particular. And I think everybody sort of knew at this point that I kept hurting people. so Ruben was like, you have to give her the foam knife because she will hit me.
You were beating the shit out of that foam pad. I don't know what you were channeling.
I have a lot of anger.
We did very few takes of this. This was like maybe 3 takes.
Yeah.
I just felt like so intense with each one. It was like, yeah, we got it. That's enough.
It's the first time that, Ellie and Joel, like, embraces that physical contact. And it's such a great choice, I think, for you the dialogue wasn't important.
Yeah, it was just a gesture. So it was like, just let the music take over. And it's the same theme from when, his daughter dies. This was the scene where you got the most emotional. You almost cried in this scene.
Oh, that's right.
We don't have to do this. You know that, right?
First time Joel questions the whole idea of this mission.
But in a different way, though. Before it was, why am I wasting my time doing this? And now I'm saying, maybe that's not what we need. Maybe that's not the
Maybe it's
answer.
not worth it.
Well, yeah, it's not worth it. But I love that this comes off of what you said was one of your favorite moments, which was the moments
giraffe
with the giraffe
sequence.
sequence.
That fleeting moment where Ellie gets to be a kid one last time after the whole David sequence.
And how you even played that visually with, you just kind of catch the very last end of the giraffes moving there. So here we go.
Oh, Ellie's dead.
And I'm sure it was such an intentional thing to call back to the very beginning, to where Joel finds himself in this situation again. And after everything that we've been through, it's like, I won't go through this. And
Hands in the air.
just again, that irrational, maddening, desperate calling for help. I need.
From this point forward, it's like the beginning backwards, where if this is the point Sarah dies, like now you're about to do the Carrie sequence.
Yeah.
Then you like play as Ellie walking, like viewing Joel from the outside. And then you end on the shot with Ellie. So it's like the beginning reversed.
Sorry about that. They didn't know who
Let
you
me
were.
see Marlene again.
And Ellie?
She's all right. They brought her back.
The discussions I had with Merle about this scene is, again, her desperation to find someone that will understand, that will empathize with her decision to kill Ellie to save humanity. And she's hoping she could get that out of Joel because he's the only other person that has cared for Ellie the way she has. And she can't get that out of him.
I just think it was such a great way to bookend, to kind of start and begin
I pretty much lost.
with Marlene. And it's so great that they were able to capture just the strength that she has, even when she was sitting in that chair.
Yeah.
And again, she's completely empathetic, even though she's supposed to be antagonistic.
It's a very similar line to what David says.
Take me to her.
You don't have to worry about her anymore. We'll take care
I
of her.
worry. Just let me see her, please.
You can't. She's being prepped.
This is
for
one I've
surgery.
always seen Joel in the most parental role.
Surgery.
The doctors tell me the cordyceps, the growth inside her, has somehow mutated. It's why she's immune. Once they remove it, they'll be able to reverse engineer a vaccine.
Yeah, her performance here was just
But it grows
Stellar.
So flawless.
It does.
I remember talking with the music guys that were putting a lot of Gustavo's music, and the first few passes were, there was this dark music that was playing here once Marlene reveals that Ellie's gonna die. And I was like, we can't play Marlene as bad because she's not bad.
She's not.
I mean, she's trying to save everybody.
I knew her since she was born.
And if anything, I told them was like, you can go dark with Joel. Because again, when Ellie's life is on the line, Ellie's in danger, he lets himself slip back into the murderer, the killer,
Right.
however you want to view it.
It's so interesting. I wonder how many players, like, especially in this moment right here, how many sided with Marlene and how many think that Joel was actually the wrong one. It's like, dude, listen to what she's saying.
But at the same time, this is the theme of the game for me right here. Is as a father, you will kill everybody else to save your kid, and that has always been kind of the through line for me. Is Joel's willing to go to the end of the line, meaning sacrifice humanity to save Ellie.
Again,
Robin Atkin Downs.
Guess what's going to happen to him? But this was so cool, too, because, I mean, we've seen all the way through both cinematic and gameplay, you know, Joel is able to take on everybody, but just this moment of resolve that I'm going to wait for my moment. And it almost looks like he's a beaten, defeated person.
Give me an excuse.
And that grimace right there, it's like, no, he's not.
Which way?
Yeah, again, the way you've interpreted Joel is like a man who lets his emotions get the better of him here has to keep them in check. You see how like he wants to destroy this man and everybody here for what they're doing to Ellie, but he has to wait. He has to catch the right moment.
I say keep walking.
Bam.
Where was the operating room?
And again, just such a brutal scene. There's no threat here. It's
It's just time. Time is the threat.
now I'll let you die.
This scene used to originally be all in the operating room. And Joel wasn't carrying Ellie. He killed Marlene and the doctors in the operating room. And then Peter Field, designer, just kept bugging me. He's like, I feel like we have to play this part. It's, you have to carry Ellie out yourself. You can't just be like hinted at. And we ended up switching the whole structure of this thing. He was right. It was like, it worked way better.
That was another one of those moments where we're like, we're done, we've got it. No, we don't.
As a cinematic, it was. I thought it was perfect. But as a bigger part of the game, it was weaker than letting you play through some of it.
She won't feel anything.
Again, the only hesitation Joel has is that this is what Ellie wants.
And it's such a great decision to show, just cut to this, give the audience, the player, just one last moment of, well, what did he choose? just to sit in that decision.
It was also important to show the lie against the reality because the lie has so much weight here at the end.
What the hell am I
Throughout the
doing?
game, Joel has never lied to Ellie.
Drugs
He might have
are
disagreed or he might have dismissed her, but he's never outright lied to her.
What happened?
And for me, this was the moment I decided to lie.
We found the fireflies. Turns out there's a whole lot more like you, Ellie. People that
To me, it hurt to say these things
ain't done him a damn bit of good neither.
because once Ellie started believing that I actually had something, that I was someone, you're basically telling
Stop looking.
Ellie, you're not special, you're not important, and everything you've done was for nothing.
I'm taking us home.
Yeah, in the first few versions of the scenes, there's like Ellie had all these questions like,
I'm sorry.
what happened? Why? Who was there? Why would they let you take me out with the gown still on? And it just was better if she said nothing and she just turned her back to him. And again, just to show how far Joel's willing to go to remove any threat for Ellie.
I mean, we had talked about this before where, you know, she obviously has that bullshit detector.
Let me go.
And I just felt like I knew you were lying. You know, I feel like
You just
Ellie knows you're lying.
Go to the end. So, original ending for this, way back when we put the outline for the story together, is that Ellie believed the lie and they went off to Tommy's, and it was kind of like this wide tracking shot as you see them kind of getting smaller and smaller walking off to Tommy's. But as we went through the story and the characters got more and more developed, it's like it didn't feel honest. It didn't feel like Ellie would buy into all of it.
And she got bit too. You didn't know what to do.
Remember, we went over and over and over this scene. Little things changed.
She says,
But every time I sat and watched you
let's just wait it
tell
out.
this story, I was just,
You know, we can be all poetic and
raptured
just
by
lose
it.
our minds together.
it was so easy to listen to you tell this story.
I'm still waiting for my turn.
Ellie.
Her name was Riley, and she was the first to die. And then it was Tess. And then Sam.
None of that is on you.
You don't understand.
I struggled for a long time with surviving. And no matter what, you keep finding something to fight for. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear right now.
Swear to me.
Interesting hearing arguments around the office about how people interpret that last line, that last okay from Ellie. Whether it's, okay, I believe you, or okay, I could put this behind us, or okay, I don't trust you anymore and it's over.